now on the program is Jennifer Cherpock, the owner of Serenity Ceramics and one of hundreds of artists that you will find at this year's Ann Arbor Original Street Art Fair. Jennifer, thank you for joining us today.
Hi, Tyler. Thank you so much for having me.
Appreciate having you on. So first, tell us a little bit about yourself and the art that you produce.
Well, I am a potter or ceramic artist, and I live in New Jersey. I'm here in my home studio in New Jersey. I work in porcelain clay, and I make functional and decorative items such as mugs, bowls, vases, and I'm excited to be part of the Ann Arbor Art Fair coming up in July.
Yeah, it'll be a very interesting event. It begins Thursday, July 21st. It goes until Saturday, July 23rd. It'll be featuring thousands of artists, 30 blocks of Ann Arbor. It's going to be a very fun event for all you art lovers out there. So for you, you are, as you said, a ceramic artist. You're a potter. When did that really, for no pun intended, cement itself as your art of choice?
Well, it really started for me, I guess, about 25 years ago. I always loved art in general. Even as a child, I took different art classes, painting, jewelry, all different types of things. And I actually didn't start out as an artist. I didn't go to school for it, but I went to school for business. I actually went to school and became a CPA. Because I had the influence of family and just that voice in my head telling me to do something practical with your life, something that will make money, and where you don't have to, worry about your career and your livelihood. So I did that, but I just couldn't get the art out of my system, really. So I started taking classes at a community art school after work at night. And I did painting at first, and then I did a little bit of sculpting, and then I went on the potter's wheel, and then that was it. I knew that's what I wanted to do, at least for a hobby. So it started out as that. But it took a while for me to get up the courage to slowly transition over to becoming a professional artist and doing that full time.
So where did that transition happen, and what ultimately did inspire you to say, I'm going to make this my career, I'm going to be the artist I've always been?
It happened about 20 years ago. So next year I'll be celebrating my 20th year in business. Thank you. And it really started because I made a life change where I moved from New Jersey to California. And I think getting away from the metropolitan area and being in a new place and being around new people and really not having any expectations and enjoying kind of the carefree lifestyle that was more a part of what it was like in Los Angeles, that made me feel a little bit freer to explore what I really wanted to do. So I continued to do my pottery there while I was still working part-time as an accountant. And I started to do some small little art fairs. I would go to the farmer's market once a week and set up my tent and bring out my wares. And I just really loved that. And the feedback I was getting was really great. And that encouraged me to keep doing that, do a little bit more and a little bit more. And then eventually I started doing some larger art fairs. And I did wind up coming back home to New Jersey about 18 years ago. And that's when I really focused on having my art career be, take off and really having that be the prominent source of income for me. It was definitely a learning curve, but it was worth it in the end.
We're joined by Jennifer Cherpock, owner of Serenity Ceramics, who will be participating in the Ann Arbor Original Street Art Fair this summer, July 21st through 23rd in Ann Arbor, with us on the Michigan MegaCast. And so for each individual artist, their inspiration can vary. Sometimes it's just whatever comes to mind in the moment, and you paint what you're thinking, you design what you're thinking, whatever comes to mind, and others draw inspiration from their life or from experiences or from something out in the world. For you, Jennifer, what inspires you in your art and in the ceramics that you're creating?
I think it was that transition of moving to a new place and being in an area where the land was so beautiful that I wanted to capture the beauty of the landscape, the mountains and of the beach and the ocean waves and things. So to me, my work is all landscape. I love to capture the lines in the mountains and the ocean waves, and I try to pull the colors that are in nature and replicate them in my work, and the different forms and lines.
And so during the pandemic, artists had a really tough time because these art shows, especially in the summers, on the eastern side of the country and all throughout the year in the west, these art fairs weren't going on, or they were going on in any capacity. It was virtual, and it's a completely different environment. And I would imagine for artists who are traveling with their art, selling their art in these art fairs, it had to have been a really challenging time. Can you speak to how you and other artists as a community were able to weather through that, and how much of an inspiration it is to now be able to do that once again, and how that might impact your art going forward?
Yeah, it was definitely a difficult time for us, and along with everyone else. I think I went through different stages when it occurred. In the beginning, being from the East Coast, we got hit the hardest, in the beginning. So I think I kind of allowed myself not to worry too much about what was going on in my career for just the first couple of weeks. I was more focused on, is everyone going to be safe? Is my family going to be safe? So I had that in my head at the moment. And then once we realized that things were not going to be opening back up in 2 weeks, and this was going to be going on for a while, then I started to think about what I can do. And the artists as a community kind of got together on our social media platforms and our groups and discussed the different ways that we can get ourselves out there without actually being in person. So, and we also gave each other support and helping find different means of, the different grants that were available, and how we could apply for unemployment and things like that could really, once we learned some information, we could share it with each other and help each other out. But it was definitely a transition of, once I learned that art fairs were going to be canceled and more were canceled, I had to think about what's the other way that I can get to my customers without actually seeing them in person. So I turned a lot more to the social media, and I created a website and, honed in on that. And it really forced me to think in a different way, which was a good thing in a way, because it did push me to try something new. It gave my customers a new way to see my work and to see a lot of the behind the scenes of what I do through my social media posts on Facebook and Instagram. So that was definitely a benefit. And going forward, I think, when things started to open back up, I think about June of 2021 was my first art fair. And it was amazing how the clients were so appreciative. Everybody was so happy to be back and about. And I'm so thankful that all the customers were so excited and able to support the artists again, and did so. Yes, going forward, it's been really supportive. The customers have really been supportive.
We're joined by Jennifer Cherpock, the owner of Serenity Ceramics. Joining us on the Michigan MegaCast, you'll be one of thousands of artists participating in the Ann Arbor Original Street Art Fair. That's going to be occurring Thursday, July 21st, 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. Also on Friday, July 22nd, and Saturday, July 23rd, 10 a.m. until 8 p.m. in a 30-block zone of Ann Arbor. More information on AnnArborArtFair.com, or I'll learn more about Jennifer's art by visiting her website, SerenityCeramics.com. That's SerenityCeramics.com. And Jennifer, have you participated previously in the Ann Arbor Original Street Art Fair, or will this be your first time?
I have. I think this will be my 7th year at the show.
So what about this show keeps bringing you back? Because it is a giant art fair. This is 30 blocks, over 1,000 artists. I'm sure there are, if not dozens in your category in ceramics and pottery, maybe even hundreds. Tons of competition. What keeps bringing you back to Ann Arbor?
I think it's has to do a lot with the energy of the show. It's not just an art fair that people will come and stop by. It's really an event that a lot of the patrons go out of their way to really plan. They either, have set up gatherings with friends, or it's a family event where they'll spend the whole day and see all the art and support the artists and the restaurants and watch the entertainment. So it's really a great energy that's there. And I have my clients that come back year after year. They'll come back and purchase again, or they'll come back to say how much they're enjoying their pieces. And it's really that sense of community and excitement that brings me back.
Yeah.
We always say it's a tough show as for artists to do because of the long hours, and it's usually hot, but it's always worth it in the end because we always have a great time and enjoy it.
More information about the Ann Arbor Original Street Art Fair can be found on AnnArborArtFair.com. We're joined by one of thousands of artists you will see in that 30-block area of Ann Arbor, July 21st through 23rd. With more information at AnnArborArtFair.com. Jennifer Cherpock, owner of Serenity Ceramics, joins us on the Michigan MegaCast. More information about her art is at SerenityCeramics.com. SerenityCeramics.com. You also, I understand, you won an award at the Ann Arbor Art Fair last year. Can you tell us about that award?
I did. I was really a lovely surprise. I won second best of show in the State Street area group. It was it was a really nice surprise and such an honor to be recognized, especially amongst so many talented artists.
So we don't want to give it all away. We want to leave some mystery so that people show up and are excited to find Serenity Ceramics at the Ann Arbor Original Street Art Fair. But what are some of the pieces that you are planning to be showcasing, or kinds of pieces you plan to be showcasing at this year's Ann Arbor Original Street Art Fair?
Well, my mugs are always my most popular item. So I have these mugs here that I will be showing. I have two different sizes, the small and a large one for those really big coffee drinkers. And then some of my newer work that I have is I've been doing some more sculptural pieces where I have thrown them on the wheel, but then go through and do some carvings into them and really changing the surfaces of the pieces. So those are the types of pieces that I'm excited to show this year.
You can learn more about those pieces and many more at SerenityCeramics.com. You can also learn more about the Ann Arbor Original Street Art Fair by visiting AnnArborArtFair.com. That will occur Thursday and Friday, July 22nd, 21st and 22nd from 10 a.m. until 9 p.m. and Saturday, July 23rd, 10 a.m. until 8 p.m. Jennifer, anything else for us today before we will say goodbye?
I just want to say thank you for supporting the arts and come down to the Ann Arbor Art Fair. It's going to be a great time, and I appreciate you having me on.
Jennifer, thank you so much.
Thank you.